we ran out of battery on the Boulevard de Sebastopol. So I'm back. I'm heading home towards my neighborhood by the Casa Mata. And I was just talking to before I got disconnected how this is, I read somewhere, not sure if it's true, the world's busiest bike lane. It's the end of rush hour now because it's well after 7, but who knows if that's true or not. So now we are riding around Paris. The question was that I sought to answer the question today: is Paris safe? And I think you can judge for yourself. Like, the protest is the protest, but if you don't want to be in the protest, then stay away from the protest, I suppose. I should change my message because it's no longer live from the strike. We're not at the strike anymore. Technology is so complicated. So let's change our message. How do I do that? It's just a ride to my neighborhood. It's no longer a strike live stream because we left the strike because things got spicy. And we're heading back to my neighborhood now. Oh, I have to undo this bike. I needed to set an alarm so I didn't go over time on the bike, but forgot, and I did, and I paid $3. Although I don't think I'll use all my rides. Okay. They upgraded from 30 rides to 60 rides. I think because they wanted everyone to have goodwill towards them, because there was this vote on Sunday about about the scooters, the e-scooters, the ones that you could rent like this, not the ones that you own if you're an individual. And only 100,000 people turned out to vote, which is not much for a city of 2-point-something million. Plus, they didn't let people in the suburbs vote. But if you count everybody in the suburbs, you've got about 10 million in Paris. Okay, so I ran out of battery back there. It's nice and quiet for a moment. This is time to get back on the bike. There are lots of restaurants over here that are kind of touristy, and I recommend going to them. We're very close to the Centre Pompidou Museum, the Beaubourg, so a lot of people are just, if you're too close to a monument or a museum, sometimes there's a lot of people who are so tired they just give up. And they go wherever, like Quick Burger. Ugh. I had it once and I thought, how bad can it be? It exists. It must. Somebody must like it, right? It was so terrible. It was like a bad version of McDonald's. Anyway, so lots of mediocre restaurants here. There are some good ones too. You just have to know where to go. You can't just randomly bounce around. We're in Les Halles neighborhood now. Les Halles being a former food market that they tore down. Unfortunately, it was gorgeous ironwork, and they tore it down to build a really ugly building. And then they recently replaced it with a kind of weird building, I would say, very contemporary architecture, spaceship looking thing, and it's a huge shopping mall that is really popular. By the way, fun fact, the back of this church was cut off to make way for this boulevard, because normally the church wouldn't cut off at the transept how it is now, but they rebuilt the back of it, just kind of slapped an end on the church to keep it intact. And it's an activist church for poor people, so they're very activist about helping the downtrodden. I'm using a lot of grandpa speak today, Waiata. So that's pretty funny. Sacre Frenchy. These are touristy spots, not really. I don't think I've ever been invited by anybody to come out of any of these. There's a restaurant that I like, which is Trois Fois Plus de Piment, 3 times the spice. It's a Chinese noodle restaurant that's just around the corner here. That one's good. That's on our list. There's also there's a few good restaurants and cocktail bars and wine bars in here. You really have to know. So consult our list. Sorry, it's super loud. Paris Defined magazine is all about curating Paris and telling you what is what, so that you don't waste a meal, because there's a lot of mediocre food in this town. A lot of motorcycles, at least right here. And a lot of good food. It looks like G.A.G. reopened, which I have to go check it out. It's pretty exciting. It used to be one of my favorite, like, underrated restaurants, and then they closed during COVID and they didn't really reopen. And I was sad because the space is really cool. It's like an old apothecary. I have to get away from these motorcycles. Boulevard de Sebastopol, heading north, I believe. The Gaieté Lyrique is there on the right, inside this, front of this park. There's a kind of escape game called Lock Academy. It's like a lock-picking escape game, I guess. I don't do those things. Escape games make me nervous. I don't want to be trapped in anything. That bothers me. This is a big street for finding love for hire, on the go, on command. I'll leave it at that. So is where I live, though. Belleville is like a red light district. Not all of it, but certain parts. So yeah, I was saying about Amsterdam. Obviously they have more people biking. Everybody bikes in Amsterdam. It's totally wild. But here, it's not that everybody bikes yet, although it's getting more and more popular. It's that everybody bikes on this street. This is kind of like the highway to get north-south from town, across town. So it's a little quiet right now, but I read that it was the world's busiest bike lane, which is cool because it didn't exist even 3 years ago. This is a COVID, I think it was COVID that they put this in. Ooh, a theater called Le Archipel. So I don't know, does Paris look safe to you? It looks like we're having a good time here. up ahead, that train station is the Gare de l'Est, the train station that takes you to the east of France, like Strasbourg, or even further, like Germany, etc. I don't know geography. What's in the east? Watch this. Pedestrians have priority. I'm going to stop for them. Let's see if anyone else does. Vous en prie. Yeah, if there's no stoplight, you're supposed to stop for them. There's not a lot of those crosswalks on this bike superhighway, but ooh, look at this. So look at the bike lane here. Crosses, which is intelligent. And up ahead is the Gare de l'Est. Oh yeah, that Swedish guy that I was sharing a table with in the bakery said he has to go to Gare du Nord. So that must be where he was staying. I don't know, I was too busy stuffing my face with the sandwich because I hadn't eaten all day. What was his name? I can't remember. It was a Swedish name. I pretended to understand and remember it, but he was cool. And the photographers were cool too. If you look back at our earlier stream a couple hours ago when I was sitting in the bakery, a bunch of us were sitting there. I mean, I was the only one who was like at the protest. The other ones were there for other reasons. Well, the Swedish guy had wanted to see the protest. He actually came to Paris from Sweden to see the protest. So that was pretty cool. And he saw it. Kind of. He got out before it got spicy. But yeah, everybody was cool. So we were hanging out and talking and just avoiding going out into the square full of fireworks and eventually police, etc. It's always confusing who has the right of way here. Is it the bikes? Is it us? I don't know. Has anybody tested it? For sure. So pretty soon, if not already, no, it doesn't look like it's open yet, but very soon on the top of this train station, right there where that statue is and where the palm trees are, is a bar called Le Perchoir de l'Est. You go inside the train station, you find the McDonald's, and then you look to the right and you will see kind of security desk. And you go to those gentlemen and you ask them how to get to the bar, and they will escort you or send you up on your way if there's space. And it's one of my favorite bars in this neighborhood in the summer. It's a lot of fun. It's not weatherproof though, so if it rains, they just say, nah, we ain't doing it. So yeah, here's the Gare de l'Est. So you can see what the rest of Paris looks like. Pretty chill and pretty safe as usual. I ride a bike at all hours, late at night, from coming home from something, alone, etc. And I don't know, I always feel pretty safe here. Sorry, that basket is bumping and you can't do anything about it. I just noticed it. It's been so loud up until now that I haven't noticed anything amiss. Wow, I got the light. I never get this light. Pressing is the word for dry cleaning. They call it pressing. I mean, technically it's true, right? on their awning, happy hour restaurant, liquor license, literally débit de boisson, which is the word for liquor license in French. I've never seen it publicized like that. So the Canal Saint-Martin, the Canal Saint-Martin, my hood. Oops. People are doing the love locks even over here. Skate park and basketball court. The locks, because the canal's higher up there, you can see it's at the level that we are over there, and so the boats go into the locks there, but down here it's much lower, and in that direction there are several other locks. So I think we're still live. Let me check. Stream health. Bomb as hell. So let's get going back to, well, I'm gonna lose this light, or yeah, I'm gonna lose this light. So we'll just gaze lovingly upon the canal that was commissioned by Napoleon Bonaparte. Oh, there's a dog park. That's the dog park I was thinking of, but that's not what they wanted. Anyway, Napoleon Bonaparte commissioned this canal to bring fresh drinking water to the Parisians in the 1800s, because we used to drink the brown water of the Seine, and it made us very proud because we thought that it gave us strength. But we didn't have indoor plumbing back then, so basically everything from the street washed into the Seine, and then we drank the water, so it gave us dysentery back in the day. And so this was one of the improvements of Paris, the Canal Saint-Martin, the drinking water, that led to a great leap in the quality of life of Parisians. In general, in the 1800s, there were a lot of improvements done to the city, so it became much more livable. Sewer systems, water, and also tearing down the old city, which was built just willy-nilly without any kind of urban planning. Sort of medieval streets with all the buildings smushed up against each other, so if one started on fire, they all started on fire. It was very shantytown looking. You see old pictures from before the Haussmannian restoration, or what would you say, the Haussmannian reconstruction of Paris. Yeah, it was kind of had like a shantytown look to it in a lot of places, because just people, you know, the architecture was, you know, dating back to God knows when, kind of slapdash, not many building regulations. This neighborhood, a lot of this was built in the 1920s. So it's not that pretty, but it's not that bad either. Here's a public school, so that's kind of pretty. A little bit of brick, a little bit of jaywalking, why not? So I'm going to sign off and say goodbye to all of you dear watchers and commenters, and thanks for tuning in. And let's do it again soon. How about that? I'll probably stream tomorrow. I think what I'm going to do tomorrow is go to maybe somewhere around the Eiffel Tower and show you obviously the Eiffel Tower, because I know people like that because it's all sparkly. But also I'll do a stream from a cafe where I sit down and answer your questions, because the other day I did that and people had a lot of questions like, is Paris safe, etc. And it was pretty cool to talk with everybody. So until then, stay safe like we